is the fact that mind has an empty aspect and mind has a manifest aspect. So on the level of emptiness, which is the level of ultimate reality, there's no difference. It's no difference between Tara, Buddha Shakyamuni, Guru Rinpoche, Yeshe Tsogyal, Vajrasattva. I mean, you name the wisdom deity or the Buddha, there's no difference. On the manifest level, or the level of appearance, or the level of the energy, they, out of their compassionate energy, radiates and appears in billions of forms, like, limitless forms. So, when we recite the prayer of Samantabhadra, the primordial Buddha says, my emanations are, I emanate in billions of forms to train sentient beings. But to go back to your original question of what's the difference between green and white Tara, is that green is the color green in the Vajra energy system, and the Vajrayana system of energy is related to the wind element, which is related to air. And air is very swift. And so green Tara is known for her swiftness in removing fears. And so the mantra for both the 10-syllable mantra, which is the mantra for all forms of Tara, is Om Tara Tu Tara Tu Re Soha, which, if we give a longer teaching on it today, is about the Four Noble Truths, or it's also about the removal of the 8 great fears. And the 8 great fears, for each one of her, the Om and the Soha, in between are the teachings on the 8 great fears. And that's the teaching that is specifically taught usually with green Tara. The white element, the white color, is related to water, which is related more to health and healing and vitality. Most of the long life deities in Vajrayana Buddhism are white in color. Some of them are also red in color, but many of them are white. And it has to do on the subtle level with the red and white channels. Actually, now that I think about it, they're a mixture of red and white. Have to do with the red and white channels that flow. They're the main 2 channels that flow into the main center channel. So white Tara is a long life deity, and the main function that she has is to increase the vitality, increase health, increase length of life, increase well-being on all levels. And so one of the teachings that I've heard from there's different, Gaelic Rinpoche has taught this. Is he says that when you're visualizing Tara, especially white Tara, you should visualize her decked to the 9 with jewels, because the jewels symbolize the vitality and the richness and the energy and abundance of all of the qualities that she has. So, and if you've been around Tibetan Buddhists, they have absolutely no problem asking the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas for both what we would label spiritual qualities and what we would label mundane qualities. So if they need more money to be able to increase they need to increase the size of their monastery because they have more monks coming in, they have no problem doing practices to bring in or to magnetize that kind of abundance. And if you have a big view where you really see the non-dual side of the ultimate and the relative, you can see where that comes from. Relative health, long life, grants a person who has worked really hard to develop skills in meditation and knowledge about Buddhism to live a long life, to be able to serve others for a long time, to maybe pass on their teachings or to reach a higher state of meditation in their life. And so everything kind of is flowing into each other. If you don't have enough food to eat, you can't really do your meditation process very well either. So white Tara is not only like a long life deity. You can really request any kind of enrichment that you need, because that's one of her functions. There's other more Buddhas that also help with magnetizing certain things that practitioners need, but white Tara is certainly helpful for that. Every year, I know recently Lama Zopa Rinpoche, he's the head Rinpoche of the Foundation for the Preservation of the Mahayana, which he did. They do really great work. He just commissioned this incredible white Tara tanka that was made completely out of precious jewels. Like her entire body was made up of white pearls. And there's, if you search for it online, you can be able to see it. It's an incredible piece of sacred art. It's also an incredible statement about like the Vajrayana, where they really think that the outer, what's happening on the outer level, manifesting in the outer, has an inner quality to it too, so that if you give a white Taratanka to the Dalai Lama and requesting him to live a long life, that's the outer symbol of also practices that they're doing on the inner level to help, extend his long life. So that's a little bit of talking about white Tara, and I hope that answers your question about the difference between green Tara and white Tara. Another story about her origin is that Chenrezig of Avalokiteshvara had spent eons of time from his Pure Land trying to help sentient beings. And when he looked down, he saw that there was many sentient beings in the hell realms, or in the lower realms, is when he started. And so he started to cry. And two tears, one tear came out of his left eye, one tear came out of his right eye, and I can't remember which one is which, but one of them sprung up immediately as white Tara, and one of them sprung up immediately as green Tara, and said, "We will help you." And so one of her origin stories is that she is the self-radiance, or the wisdom or compassion of Avalokiteshvara in action. And indeed, there are practices that have her consort, white Tara, and her consort is Avalokiteshvara, or can also be called Amitabha, because they're both from the Lotus family. So the Buddha of compassion is closely connected with the Buddha of compassion, and she appears in feminine forms and masculine forms. So a little bit about one of the things that we're going to be talking about. One of my goals in this series of classes on white Tara was to talk a little bit about the feminine principle in Buddhism. And one of the things that I told Martine was that when I have to get them their folders, so I'm going to keep talking. One of the things I told Martine is that I realized is before we should really dive into the feminine, we need to look at a little about the nature of mind and how the nature of mind manifests as both feminine and masculine qualities. So we're going to do a little bit of that today. But the first thing we're going to do is start off by practicing white Tara. As I really have a commitment that we have a lot of time to practice. And then my teachings that I've prepared, I'm going to be shortening or lengthening depending on how long we need to practice white Tara today. The first thing I'm going to ask you to do is to really invite into your mind today, before we recite the prayer of the four boundless qualities, think about how you're here today and the great, amazing benefit that we have of being able to practice together, that we can support each other on the path. Think also about anyone else in your life that might need the support of the energy of the practices that we're going to be doing together. So really take a moment to draw in your support, which is your spiritual lineage. So bring to mind the face of any teachers that have really helped you open up your wisdom mind and helped you connect with your heart. And bring their face to your mind. Just take a moment to think about them and ask them to come. This is a way of calling in all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas to come support our group practice together. So you can think about Khenpo, Sherab, Sangpo. I know some of you have a close connection with Mingyur Rinpoche. I think about Dilgo Khyentse Rinpoche and some of my other teachings, Dilgo Khyentse Rinpoche, Jetsunma Kushok Rinpoche, the Sakya Trinzen. If you've received empowerment from teachers, really good to think about them every time you practice, to reaffirm the connection, the samaya, the bond, the sacred bond that you have with them. Ellen might be thinking of the two Khenpos in Florida, Khenpo Sewang Dongyal Rinpoche, Palden Sherab, beautiful teachers. Some of you might be thinking about Khandro Rinpoche. Maybe you're thinking about other spiritual traditions that you've learned things from. that have played an equal important role in opening up your heart. And now think about not only the support, but think about the people that you want to support with your practice. Maybe family members who are ill, friends of yours who have recently died and might be on their Bardo journey. Send out some light to them. Tell them we're thinking about you. Maybe you have people that you know who are in shock, maybe still struggling with the earthquake in Nepal. I think about those people oftentimes. So many things happening in the world every day where people are undergoing change, transformation, unexpected things. So think about those people, and as you think about them, know that they're here, and then we can pray the prayer of the four boundless qualities, which is expressing our aspiration to be the cause of joy and happiness and love and great equanimity, great compassion in this universe. That we become that expression of it, that we embody it, just like White Tara. So first we'll pray the prayer of the four boundless qualities 3 times. May all sentient beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be apart from the sublime bliss that is free from suffering. And may they remain in a state of equanimity, free from attachment and aversion to those near and far. May all sentient beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be apart from the sublime bliss that is free from suffering. And may they remain in a state of equanimity, free from attachment and aversion to those near and far. May all sentient beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be apart from the sublime bliss that is free from suffering. And may they remain in a state of equanimity, free from attachment and aversion to those near and far. We'll do the Heart Sutra. Essence of the perfection of wisdom, the Heart Sutra. Just remember that this is reminding us of the great interconnectedness, our great inner being with all of life. When we chant this, that form is emptiness, emptiness is form. So everything that is arising comes out of the same ground, the ground with one nature. We're going to talk about that a little bit later today. So just think about this as the chant of interbeing. Thus have I heard at one time the Bhagavan dwelt in Rajagriha at Vulture Peak Mountain, together with the great Sangha of fully ordained monks and a great Sangha of bodhisattvas. The Bhagavan settled into an absorption on the categories of phenomena called illumination of the profound. Of Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, beheld the practice of the profound perfection of wisdom, saw the 5 aggregates to be empty of nature. Venerable Shariputra addressed noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva. How should a son or daughter of noble family who wishes to practice the profound perfection of wisdom train? Response noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, said to Venerable Shariputra, O Shariputra, a son or daughter of noble family who wishes to practice the profound perfection of wisdom, see clearly in this way, correctly observing that the 5 aggregates are empty of nature. Form is emptiness, emptiness also is form.
is not other than emptiness. Emptiness is not other than form. Just so sensation, perception, formation, and consciousness are emptiness. Shariputra, all dharmas are emptiness. In just this way, there are no characteristics. There is no birth and no cessation. There is neither impurity nor absence of impurity. There is no increase and no decline. Shariputra, since this is the case in emptiness, there is no form, no sensation, perception, no formation, and no consciousness, no eyes, no ears, no nose, no tongue, no body, and no mind, no forms, no sounds, no smells, no taste, no touch, and no phenomenon. I element to no mind element, up to no mind consciousness element. Send no end of ignorance, up to no old age and death, and no end of old age and death. In the same way, there is no suffering, source of suffering, no cessation of suffering, no path, no wisdom, no attainment, and no non-attainment. Therefore, Shariputra, since bodhisattvas have nothing to attain, rely upon and dwell in the perfection of wisdom. Their minds are unobscured, they have no fear, transcending all forms of misconception. They reach nirvana. All the Buddhas throughout the 3 times as well lie upon the perfection of wisdom, and in so doing become perfect Buddhas, actualizing unsurpassed true complete enlightenment. For the mantra of the perfection of wisdom, the mantra of great insight, unsurpassed mantra, the mantra equal to that which has no equal, mantra that completely pacifies all suffering, should be known as truth, for it is not false. The perfection of wisdom mantra is spoken thus: Teata Om Gate Gate Paragate Samgate Bodhi Swaha. Shariputra, a bodhisattva mahasattva, should practice the profound perfection of wisdom in this way. Bhagavan then arose from his absorption, said to noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, good, O son of noble family, thus it is, son of noble family, thus it is. Profound perfection of wisdom should be practiced just as you have taught. This all the Tathagatas rejoice. When the Bhagavan said this, venerable Shariputra and noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, the entire retinue and the world with its gods, humans, demigods, and Gandharvas rejoiced, praised the words of the Bhagavan. This concludes the noble essence of the perfection of wisdom. I prostrate to the Buddha, I prostrate to the Dharma, I prostrate to the Sangha, I prostrate to the Great Mother, the perfection of wisdom. Times past, the King of Gods, Indra, pondered the profound nature of the perfection of wisdom and chanted its liturgy. In this way, he dispelled all negative, harmful forces, other factors that create discord. Just so, by pondering the profound nature of the Great Mother, perfection of wisdom, and chanting this liturgy, all negative, harmful forces and other factors that create discord be dispelled. May they disappear. They be pacified. May they be thoroughly pacified. which arises interdependently, does not cease and does not arise. It is not nothing and not eternal, does not come and does not go. It is not different and not the same. One who teaches peace, the pacification of all projections, the most sublime of all who speak, to the perfect Buddha, I pay homage. So if you're going to be practicing at home, you could start your practice with taking refuge. If you're a Buddhist who's taken refuge, then you could go on and practice the prayer of the four boundless qualities, recite the perfection of wisdom, and then if you receive the bodhisattva vows from Khenpo, or the vows of bodhicitta, as he sometimes calls them, you could at that point insert the short ritual to affirm your bodhisattva vows at this point. Or you can just mentally think very strongly about when you give rise to bodhicitta that you are at that point taking your bodhisattva vows. It's really good to reaffirm them every day. And then after that, you can go on and do your main practice. And so right now, we're going to go on and do the main practice, which today is going to be White Tara. And it's in your blue folder, and probably it looks like this if you haven't seen it before. Now, all of you here today, I know, have practiced with Khenpo for a while or practiced with other Rinpoches for a while. And so I'm not going to give the full instructions on practicing White Tara. But if you ever have any questions, because I have contact with all of you, you can call me at any time and I can give you the full instructions. Last time when we were here, we had a person who had come to us from another meditation center, and he had only practiced shamatha and never had practiced with a wisdom deity before, with a Yidam deity. So last time I taught on June 7th, I gave the full instructions, and you can watch that video if you want to receive the full instructions to the practice. But today we're just going to practice. So the first thing that we want to do is to really get a strong sense of White Tara's presence in front of us. And we already, before we recited the four boundless qualities, we already, in some ways, brought in our refuge supports, which is all the teachers that have guided us, and also, of course, Buddha Shakyamuni. But at this time, reaffirm the presence of White Tara, who as a single wisdom deity is representing all of the gurus and teachers that we're taking refuge in as our support for our practice. So as best you can right now, think about White Tara in front of you, and then we're going to start the practice together. And the first thing we're going to do is start by taking refuge 3 times. And so we're bringing her energy, the energy of wisdom and compassion, non-dual wisdom and compassion, right now into our minds and our hearts very strongly. We're going to take refuge in that. So please recite the refuge formula with me. It starts with I and all sentient beings. I and all sentient beings take refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, Tara, and her mandala. I and all sentient beings take refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, Tara, and her mandala. I and all sentient beings take refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, Tara, and her mandala. Let's generate bodhicitta 3 times. For the benefit of all sentient beings, in order to obtain the state of perfection, I shall practice the sadhana of Tara. For the benefit of all sentient beings, in order to obtain the state of perfection, I shall practice the sadhana of Tara. For the benefit of all sentient beings, in order to obtain the state of perfection, I shall practice the sadhana of Tara. Prayer of the four boundless qualities 3 times. And just remind yourself that the first time we recite it, we're correcting actions of the body. The second time, thinking about correcting actions of speech. And the third time, correcting actions of the mind, bringing bodhicitta, the awakened mind, the mind focused on enlightenment to benefit all sentient beings through our body, speech, and mind. And this is the energy of the aspiration that we're making of how we're going to conduct ourselves in body, speech, and mind. May all sentient beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be apart from the sublime bliss that is free from suffering. And may they remain in a state of equanimity, free from attachment and aversion to those near and far. May all sentient beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be apart from the sublime bliss that is free from suffering. And may they remain in a state of equanimity, free from attachment and aversion to those near and far. May all sentient beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be apart from the sublime bliss that is free from suffering, and may they remain in a state of equanimity, free from attachment and aversion to those near and far. And now we're going to recite the Shunyata mantra, and then we are going to sit and rest in the nature of mind, or rest with your shamatha practice, and we are going to do that for 10 minutes. After you say the Shunyata mantra, the emptiness mantra, whatever arises in your mind at that moment, neither accept it nor reject it. Just become fully aware of it. That is the awareness aspect of your mind. The empty aspect of the mind is that everything has the space to arise. And so you're reminding yourself when we say the Shunyata mantra that your nature of mind and Tara's nature of mind and the nature of all reality is the union of emptiness and appearance, non-dually, all the time. Empty forms arising in clear light. All that appears and exists. And so we're going to recite the mantra and then immediately just rest in the nature of your mind or practice your shamatha practice with breathing for 10 minutes. I'll ring the bell when we're done with that. Om Maha Shunyata Jana Vajra Sobhava Atma Ko Hung. So now we're going to read the words that start in the space before me, and white Tara is going to arise in front of us. After she arises, whatever part of the visualization you have most strongly, you know that she's there. We're calling in a very important person to come support us, a Buddha, awakened being. And we're going to offer the 7-limb prayer to Tara, because after we call her, we want to request from her her guidance and her help. And we're going to offer prostrations, which is a form of worship, and also, again, offer up to her the deep request for her wise and compassionate guidance. And then immediately after that, we're going to continue the practice, and just know that what comes after that is her response to our requests, which is the mantra recitation, longevity practice, and the healing activities. As soon as we say, I request your wise and compassionate guidance, and remind ourselves that they're making the request for the benefit of all living beings, immediately White Tara's response is to start radiating the essence of her Buddha nature, the essence of her non-dual wisdom and compassion from the seed syllable Tam within her heart. If you can visualize the complete form of White Tara with the Tam syllable in her heart radiating, that's wonderful. But if not, know that that Tam syllable radiates out rainbow energy of the 5 colors, which is all of the 5 elements that make up everything in this universe. And whatever needs healing becomes healed at that point. So if you're practicing for a particular person who is maybe ill, or who's in the bardo, who has just died, or for another situation, you can visualize that rainbow energy entering into their heart. And visualize them becoming clear as crystal rainbow energy, which means filled with vitality, filled with compassion, filled with whatever kind of loving energy, compassion energy they need. So that's the next stage of the practice. And then we're going to go immediately into the 10-syllable mantra, and we're going to do that for 10 minutes, which is essentially taking time to be present in the presence of White Tara as she is practicing her healing activities of radiating this rainbow light out of the Tam syllable of her heart. So Om Tara Tu Tara Tu Re Soha is the form of white Tara in the form of sound. It's her Sambhogakaya form. So just stay with the visualization as much as you can. You can alternate between focusing on the mantra. You can alternate between focusing on the visualization of the rainbow light energy. Whatever you can do, the most important part is stay connected to the energy of the practice at this time. So let's read together in the space before me, and then white Tara will arise. In the space before me appears a white lotus with a moon disk upon it. The love and compassion of all the enlightened beings appear from this as noble wish-fulfilling Tara. She sits on a lotus and moon cushion, a luminous moon halo at her back. Youthful and radiant, her right hand gestures in an invitation to liberation. Her left hand, holding an upala flower, indicates the protection of the three jewels, giving courage and assurance to those dominated by fear. I bow down in body, speech, and mind. I present offerings both actually arranged and mentally created. I purify all deluded actions. I rejoice in all pure activities. I request you to remain until total enlightenment. I request your wise and compassionate guidance. I dedicate my merit for the benefit of all beings. Brilliant light radiates from the syllable Tam within her heart, collecting back the essence of inexhaustible vitality and powerful blessings of body, speech, and mind. Energy streams forth from Tara's heart and body. I and all beings absorb this nectar of light and are cleansed and revitalized, obtaining the realization of deathlessness. Okay, so today we're going to recite to ourselves just inside of your head so that everyone can practice at their own pace. So Om Tari Tu Tari Tu Re Soha, and we'll practice that for 10 minutes, and I'll ring the bell once the 10 minutes are done, okay? One of the tremendous healing capacities of working with a wisdom deity like White Tara is that when you're meditating, you're visualizing Tara's body as rainbow light. You're hearing the sound of her mantra today inside of your head. Your mind is completely with single-pointed devotion, focused on the form of her body and her mantra, and knowing that in one practice you're practicing the Dharmakaya awareness, the Sambhogakaya speech aspect of her mantra, and also the Nirmanakaya emanation form of her body. When you're doing that, you're also unifying your body, speech, and mind in single focused concentration and awareness. And that just in itself can be tremendously relaxing, tremendously revitalizing, because all of your energy system is in one place at what time, focused on the same goal. And you've got compassion and love in your heart because you're really knowing that this energy is connecting maybe with the person that you're practicing for, or the situation that you're practicing for, or maybe as many sentient beings as your heart can encompass at one time. So the healing aspect of White Tara and any kind of deity practice has to do with bringing your body, speech, and mind energy system in union with White Tara's, and that is a reflection of your radiant Buddha nature that is innate to you. So you're spending time with that aspect. So most important part of the practice is to relax and to know that whatever is arising for you, that part of White Tara, just make a connection with it and keep a single pointed focus as you can, not straining, but just relaxing with whatever that part of it is arising in your awareness. So if you have the Tam syllable radiating that rainbow light and you feel that, and that's the part of your practice that you're connecting with that day, just stay with that. as you practice the deity practice over years, it becomes spontaneous. It just becomes natural. But as you're learning it, of course, like anything, there's different parts of the practice that are going to unfold at different rates for different people. So you're practicing also a great generosity of patience with yourself, of knowing that you have this inner white Tara, you have this innate Buddha nature, you're just spending time with it, connecting with it, and maybe you haven't done a lot of that. And so different aspects are going to come out at different times. So that's just an aspect of requesting gentleness for yourself at all times during the practice. That also allows you to bring gentleness into our world, which is, if we're going to talk about maybe a feminine quality of aspect of the mother deities, that is certainly something that men and women can embody, but that's something we need more of in our world right now, is some gentleness. So much can unfold with gentleness, with patience, with relaxation. So now we're going to go on to the long life mantra, and this is the specific mantra for Tara. And I'm just going to remind you again of what the individual words mean. Om Tara Tu Tara Ture means calling Tara, that's her name. Mama means grant me. Ayar is long life, vitality, this amazing vital rainbow energy. Jana is wisdom. Punya is merit. Merit is what allows us to make connections with other people and with spontaneous situations of great blessings. So when we're asking for merit, we're not asking White Tara to give us brownie points. What we're asking for is actually for more of the spontaneous aspect of life to unfold, where what we need to share, what we need to receive is arising at that moment, and we have the merit, which means the openness, the wisdom, to be able to receive it at that moment, to do it at that moment, to give it at that moment. So that's what we're asking for, is more of this spontaneous, it's called tandril, spontaneous, auspicious connection to always arise in our life. Putin Kuriye Soha, please increase all of these. So long life, vitality, wisdom, merit, or spontaneous ability to connect with which is present in front of us. Please increase that for me right now. And so we're going to say this a little bit together. We're going to do the Tibetan pronunciation, and I'll start us out, and then you can just join in. Om Tari Tu Tari Tue Mama Ayar Jana Punye Pitong Kuruye Soha. Om Tari Tu Tari Tue Mama Ayar Jana Punye Pitong Kuruye Soha. Om Tare Tu Tare Tue Mama Ayar Jana Punye Pitong Kurure Soha. Om Tare Tu Tare Tue Mama Ayar Jana Punye Pitong Kurure Soha. Om Tare Tu Tare Tue Mama Ayar Jana Punye Pitong Kurure Soha. Om Tare Tu Tare Tue Mama Ayar Jana Punye Pitong Kurure Soha. Om Tare Tu Tare Tue Mama Ayar Jana Punye Pitong Kurure Soha. Now again, if you're practicing this for someone else, such as the long life of your teacher, instead of saying Mama, which means grant me, you could say Guru. If you're practicing for a certain person, you can insert their name again for Mama. So at this point, let's have each of you practice in your mind for 2 minutes with this mantra. If you are asking for yourself, continue to say Mama. If you're practicing for another person in your mind, insert their name instead of for Mama. So let's do that for 2 minutes silently to ourselves. Again, whatever visualization of White Tara you have in front of you, bring that to mind again, and know that she is simultaneously with you or with the other person or situation that you're practicing for. Dedicating my White Tara practice right now to Nepal because I really felt completely helpless during that earthquake. And I met a teacher there who I was able to help raise some money for. And so the way that I was just doing this right now is visualizing him very strongly and seeing like sleeping bags arriving for his monastery. And every time I would get to Mama, I would say Nepal, but visualize the sleeping bags arriving for the monastery. And knowing that those sleeping bags are White Taras arising.
So when you're doing this, as much as you can personalize this practice so that you have a connection with it, it brings the vitality and the energy to it. It brings your bodhicitta, which is one of the main reasons that we practice, is to connect our aspiration, bodhicitta, with our ability to act as the energy of wisdom and compassion in the world. So use the situations that are arising in your life in your practice, knowing that as you practice concretely with what's arising for you, you are continually developing that infinite capacity that you actually have to practice for all sentient beings. But start where you are. It's really a helpful way of also generating like a genuine connection with the practice, that you actually want to do it and that you have it when you have a situation arise in your life where you need comfort, where you feel like you need to be able to be the expression of that compassion and wisdom. Now we're going to be doing Tara's prayer. And last time we learned a little bit the melody. I'm going to continue to teach that right now. I'm just going to sing it for you, and you can join in as much as you can. Jetsun Pagma Droma is her name. Jetsun is an honorific form for a Buddha. Pagma means noble one. The Sanskrit form of that is Arya. Droma is Tara in Tibetan. Arya Tara would be the Sanskrit form. We're saying Jetsun Pagma Droma. Chechen no. Galchen kunsel samdang nur drup sot. And I'll chant and you can join me. Jetsun Pagma Droma Chechen no. Galchen kunsel samdang nur drup sot. Jetsun Pagma Droma Chechen no. Galchen kunsel samdang nur drup sot. Jetsun Pagma Droma Chechen no. Galchen kunsel samden nur drup sot. Jetsun Pagma Droma Chechen no. Galchen kunsel samden nur drup sot. Jetsun Pagma Droma Chechen no. Galchen kunsel samden nur drup sot. Jetsun Pagma Droma Chechen no. Galchen kunsel samden nur drup sot. Jetsun Pagma Droma Chechen no. Galchen kunsel samden nur drup sot. Jetsun Pagma Droma Chechen no. Galchen kunsel samden nur drup sot. Jetsun Pagma Droma Chechen no. Galchen kunsel samden nur drup sot. Jetsun Pagma Droma Chechen no. Galchen kunsel samden nur drup sot. Jetsun Pagma Droma Chechen no. Galchen kunsel samden nur drup sot. So this is the part of the practice that Khenpo inserted out of his personal Tara practice. And whenever I chant this, frankly, I just visualize Khenpo in front of me radiating his joy and happiness, because I know that his joyful radiance and happiness is no different from white Tara's at all. And I make a connection with him during this time in the practice when I practice that way, because I really love that part. In English, if you didn't read it yet, it means illustrious Tara, which means Jetsun Pagma Droma. Please be aware of me, remove my obstacles, quickly grant my excellent aspirations. So everything that you request of Tara, think of her as this Buddha, as this energy of wisdom and compassion. And I always say this when I teach Tara, who knows everything about you and loves every single bit of energy that arises in you. She just loves it to pieces. That's that mother energy, great acceptance. Because when we have this great acceptance, we have a great opening of the heart energy. And when we open ourselves and allows our wisdom to expand, and that gives us more clarity about everything in our life. So bring that energy of openness, of wisdom and compassion into yourself when you're practicing at this point, and know that that openness in itself is going to be such a great blessing, and that many, many more blessings will naturally flow out of that energy. So now you have the dissolution, which is the part of the practice. We just spent time generating white Tara, which is the generation stage or the development stage of the practice. We developed her Nirmanakaya form, which is the form that can appear to us, the body of Tara. We worked with her Sambhogakaya energy, which is the radiant energy of compassion, which manifests in the sound of her mantra, which manifests as these light rays of compassion or of rainbow energy. And now what we're doing is returning again to the first part of the practice when we practice the Shunyata mantra, which is returning the awareness aspect to the Dharmakaya, which is the empty yet appearance, the empty appearance. So we're working again with the dissolution. And so now connect briefly with your visualization of white Tara. Again, connect with the energy that you've generated, your connection with white Tara. And at this time, know that we're going to dissolve all of that and then connect again with the stage of the Dharmakaya, which is the nature of reality of all things. At this point, we are going to follow with the dedication prayers, but if you're practicing at home, you could again rest in the nature of your mind at this point for 10 minutes or do another form of shamatha practice, which is a wonderful way to conclude the dissolution. But we're going to go directly into the dedication prayers. Before we do that, though, I want you to briefly pull out the long life prayer of Khenpo Sherab Sangpo out of your folders. It looks like this. It has the picture of him on it. And we're going to insert that before the prayer of the 6 continuous aspirations by Longchenpa. So let's do the dissolution. Please give rise to white Tara so that you have something to dissolve. Briefly connect again with her form, with her sound of her mantra. Feel the energy of her presence, of her wisdom and compassion. Know that that's a reflection of your Buddha nature. It's also a reflection of the nature of all reality, all that appears and exists. And now that you've made that connection, please recite with me. All phenomenal appearances become the mandala of noble Tara. Everything dissolves into light and dissolves into noble Tara. Noble Tara dissolves into my heart center and protects me. And then out of the space of the tremendous gratitude that we have of having made a connection with Buddha Tara today, with white Tara, also with a connection with our amazing capacity of body, speech, and mind, the amazing ability that we have to connect with the loving kindness and compassion that's available to at all time. Out of this generosity, then immediately we want to dedicate all of the energy to benefit all sentient beings. So we're going to, at this point, recite all the dedication prayers, inserting the melody of immortality, a prayer of longevity for Khenpo right before the prayer of 6 continuous aspirations. So please dedicate with me. By virtuous practice, may I quickly attain the realization of noble Tara. Accomplishing this, may I liberate all sentient beings without exception into that same realization. May I attain in each and every life the sublime virtues of existence and peace.
May I pursue the flawless mindset of altruism, working for the welfare of others on a vast scale. Through this very merit of mine, may every single sentient being eliminate all forms of negativity and practice virtue forevermore. May supreme precious bodhicitta take birth where it has not arisen. Where it has arisen, may it never wane, but continue to grow forevermore. Hri, in the divine mandala, where all that appears and exists is utterly pure, you, the sovereign of all Buddha families and teacher of the Tantras, mature and liberate the three gates into their Vajra nature. Vajra King, may you ever remain. Within the Vajra body, you reveal the mandala of the great bliss of the indestructible three secrets. Most supreme of all, Lord of the Vajra transmission, Vajra Master, may you remain for 100 eons. Through the effortless path, you reveal unchanging self-awareness, the basic space of great bliss. Caring for the profound key instructions of perfection, glorious Guru, may you remain until the end of existence. Precious successor to the Gurus of the three lineages, may you remain throughout the three times in Vajra form, forever hoisting the great banner of the Dharma of the three lineages throughout the three realms. May I, in all my lives, no matter where I am born, obtain the 7 qualities of the upper realms of existence. May I meet the Dharma immediately after taking birth and have the freedom to practice perfectly. May I please the sublime Gurus and day and night dedicate myself to the Dharma. By realizing the Dharma and practicing its innermost essence, may I cross the ocean of conditioned existence in this very life. May I teach the sublime Dharma perfectly and never become weary and tired of benefiting others in samsara. By my own impartial and all-encompassing activities to benefit others, may all obtain enlightenment together. Oh, you guys are all so wonderful. I bow to all of you. You look so radiant when you practice Tara. It's one of the great gifts of sitting up here. It's not that I'm higher, but that I get to see all of you while you practice. So thank you so much for sharing your energy with us all. It's a great support, and I really appreciate it that you came today. So again, I bow to all of you. Thank you so much.